last year probably was the most brutal year in my entire career for many reasons. And one of them was that I had wrong assumptions about my business model. And I actually realized that I thought I was focused on just one business model. I wanted it continue working no matter what, but I was ignoring the market feedback. I ignored what my colleagues told me. I ignored pretty much these external signs because I was only listening to myself. And I realized that at some point, and that was probably the only time when I thought I was following my gut feeling. And I always thought, okay, yes, challenges happened over time. I always emerged stronger, better, wiser. Here it was the other story. I was going through the challenges, but things keep on getting worse. And I realized that I actually had to look at it differently. And thanks to my wise wife, and I had to reconsider and accept the fact that if I wouldn't know, if I would already know how to achieve something, I would already get it. And that's why that whole experience made me much more, say, humble, grounded. I realized that, okay, there's lots of things I still don't know. And I always thought that I've never been, I would say, I've never been arrogant. I learned very early in life that arrogance leads to nowhere. But here it was more that I really was convinced. I fell in love with the business model. And I realized what it actually is. So it is a thing among founders. And it took me some time to accept that. And I eventually had to let it go. It wasn't easy. It sounds easy now as I'm talking about it, but most of the time you actually need to have not just great mentors. Sometimes you would need to consider doing psychotherapy just to understand yourself and what is it that you're feeling. So and since we're talking about gut feeling, understanding your own feelings matters a lot. I always thought all that so whenever someone talks about feelings, I always thought that's a sign of weakness, at least to me. But then again, I have the finance background. I worked in the industry, so that industry doesn't speak feelings. It speaks only logic, data-driven decision making. It doesn't accept and doesn't understand feelings. But now I actually see that actually lots of pretty much everything is driven by feelings and emotions. And so that whole experience allowed me to kind of reconsider, look at more at feelings, my own feelings, what I really want. And eventually, but I kept on receiving those signs like for years. I kept on disregarding them in one way or another. But once I accepted that I probably don't know exactly what I don't know, I have to be more open-minded. I have to try out other things. I actually would have to let go of that business model, and the miracles started happening. The new type of projects, new type of clients. Now I actually have the hedge fund idea that I realized I kept on postponing it for a real long time, and now I feel it's the perfect time to start working on it. And I also see another, I would say, piece of advice that I could share with listeners is that one of the best ways to tell whether you should continue or discontinue something is that, say, that's fine to work on several things at the same time. So what worked for me and what really contributed the most to the realization that I should let go of the old business model was that I started investing more time into fund management.